This episode of the Young Turks is brought to you by Jack Threads.
Now let's go to Fox News reaction on Egypt and the protesters. Now you would think that they would be ecstatic because you remember the freedom agenda of Bush, and they thought they claimed that they wanted democracy to ripple throughout the Middle East, and so you would think that they would be jazzed. Turns out, not so much. Let's go to clip number 4.
If the Muslim Brotherhood take Egypt, it destabilizes the entire Middle East. It sets the Middle East, if not immediately, within a reasonable period of time, sets the entire thing on fire.
The dominoes are starting to fall. You saw Tunisia, you see Egypt, maybe Jordan. It could spread there. It could spread, frankly, it could go all the way from Tunisia to Iran.
They are jihadists who hate America and who will help al-Qaeda all day long. For decades, the choice in Egypt has been, does America support Mubarak or the Islamic fundamentalists?
Muslim Brotherhood, they are a global Sunni revivalist movement. It was founded in Egypt in 1928. They seek to establish an Islamic caliphate.
Once they start to work in concert, Europe is done. It is done.
Today, after the Friday prayers, the Muslim Brotherhood's supporters went out into the street too, which explains the increase in violence. We're in a very, very dangerous situation here.
As an organization per se, it has not been committing a lot of terrorism. In fact, virtually none.
But it's maneuvering in a situation of potential anarchy to take advantage of it. That's one reason why it's so dangerous and why we're so vulnerable to a really radical regime coming to power.
To be clear, I thought for the past week the Muslim Brotherhood had been overstated.
Did anybody report yesterday besides Fox News that we found a suicide bombing handbook printed in Iran, in Arizona, on the northern side of our border? Well, gee, what do you think that is?
My fear is this becomes 1979, the equivalent of the Iranian Revolution. The Muslim Brotherhood is armed, and every terrorist organization in the Middle East is now going to go in and offer them support because they want to create that new theocracy.
The police and military cannot overcome the Muslim Brotherhood there in Egypt.
It's really become like the mothership for jihadists throughout the Middle East.
We are sitting on September 10th. Maybe it's the 8th. Maybe it's July or August. I don't know. I don't know how long it takes. But when this thing starts to melt down, it is going to melt down quickly.
We've got a couple of things there. First of all, it's either Al-Qaeda or Mubarak. Apparently there's no other in between. O'Reilly's saying, oh, no, that's it. These guys are would love to help Al-Qaeda, etc. And everybody else chiming in along those lines of violent Islamic jihadists. And then, my favorite part is every once in a while they'll say, by the way, there's no evidence of that. They've done no terrorism. But since they've done no terrorism, that leaves us vulnerable to them doing terrorism at a later time. That's awesome logic. So if you've never done terrorism, are you leaving people around you vulnerable for you doing terrorism later? Okay, and so why are they doing this? Why are they attacking what appears to be a democratic movement? Well, one of the reasons is that some of the neocons who claim they were so for democracy, like John Bolton, actually care more about Israel's interests. Not all of the neocons, and Ailey Abrams, for example, came out on the right side, etc. And that is, of course, not the only consideration of the neocons, but it is one of the considerations. And Israel thought that Mubarak was a strong ally, and they let the United States and their other allies know that and to support that. And, of course, one of their top allies is Fox News Channel. So democracy or not, they're like, oh, I don't know, yeah, Mubarak, maybe not so great, but these other boogeymen, Al-Qaeda, jihadists. So that's part of the reason. And then the other thing is Glenn Beck is crazy. I mean, what's he talking about? We got a democratic movement in Egypt that's been perfectly peaceful, and he's talking about how it's September 10th. September 10th? Based on what? What are you talking about? And then my favorite part was when he said, Europe is done. If this continues, Europe is done. There's going to be a democratic revolt in Germany? Or does he mean that the Muslims are taking over Sweden? What's he talking about? But it's all about the apocalypse is coming and they're so scary and both sides are scary. Mubarak's an Arab, but so are the protesters. What do we do?
This episode of the Young Turks brought to you by Jack Threads for the win.